Hello, everybody. Joe Bagdonuts here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Another gap in the upload schedule that I didn't plan on. My college semester is finally over. Thank Christ. Praise the Lord. Inshallah. Yeah, it was, it got a little rough there at the end. I had all my assignments due, within like a 2-day period, like all like end of semester projects. So I was swamped with those. But it's over for now until I have to do it all over again. I did fail one of my classes though, which was to be expected. It was the fucking bullshit like, oh, here's how to take college classes that they didn't tell me I needed to do until right before the semester started. And for my first two classes, I picked two pretty big ones. So adding a third one to the mix just made everything harder. And yeah, I went on vacation with my family like in the like upcoming week to like the last semester when, you know, in that class all the projects were due, and just didn't have time to do the project, so I failed. Oops. That's $750 out of my pocket, because if you fail a class, you're taking on tuition assistance. You have to pay the government back out of pocket. So that's nice. That's great. But on another negative note, it is definitely that time of the year where I am no longer a man of flesh and blood. I have been replaced by a fucking congealed mass of pollen, mucus, and antihistamines. I'm dying. Like, it's bad. My eyes are constantly watering. My face is puffy. You can probably hear it. I probably sound a little nasally today. That's because it's bad. The tree cum is in my bloodstream, and it's killing me. My eyes itch so bad. And they're like dry itchy, even though they're watering. Like, it feels like I have sand in my eyeballs whenever I rub them, which I shouldn't do, because it just makes them itch even more. But if you hear me stopping to sneeze and like die during this video, that's why. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen too much. Anyway, yeah, great. Let's go. Last time, people got. Oof, owie, yikes. Though, to be honest, Rosa kind of deserved it. Nazi, though, going back to being the punching bag, huh? Nazi could be seen in her room. Kraus had instructed her to retire for the night, but she couldn't afford to lie around sleeping on an important day like this. However, she was aware that she was the type to get excited easily, and that this sometimes led her husband back. So, though she did not like it one bit, there was no way around it. It's probably close to the time for the break to end and the family conference to begin once again in the dining hall. Is my microphone set up properly? It is. Yeah, I tried to call my my Japanese professor to do my end of semester like oral exam, and just Skype would not recognize any of my microphones on my PC, so I had to fiddle around with all my audio settings. And I never got it working. I had to dig out my laptop and quickly download Skype and hook up my microphone to there. It was awful. I hated it. And it ended up making me stay up to like 1 a.m. because that was the after she had finished doing everyone else's examinations. She's in a different time zone, so for her it was fine, but for me it was pretty rough. Her husband would have to protect the Ushermia family honor from his greedy siblings, all by himself. If she grew emotional by his side, she would just tie him down. Though she knew that quietly waiting here was the best way she could support him, that didn't make the waiting any easier. Natsuya opened a drawer and took out a small box she kept her treasures in. This was her secret box. Inside was everything from valuable items to mere odds and ends. However, they were all precious, memorable treasures in Natsuya's eyes. She pulled a small pouch out of the box. Her magic mirror. She emptied its contents into her palm. She was kind of charmed that her birth family had given her when she had married. It was a spirit mirror to ward off evil. Her face was reflected in the mirror. She wasn't as young as she once was. Recently, she had begun to see a bit of her parents' and grandparents on her own face. So when she stared at her reflection in the mirror like this, She felt as though her soul had returned to the side of her parents and the family she had been born into.
お父様、お母様。
Yeah, I get that when I look in the mirror and I see my fucking fat head. I'm like, oh, yep, there's my dad.
夏日が不勉強なばかり。夫の支えになれません。
Though, like, my actual facial features I take out from my mom's side of the family way more. Like, my dad's side, I kind of got, like, that side of the family's, like, chin. But everything else is all straight up fucking Quebecois. Of course, her face in the mirror did not answer. However, Natsu continued.
夫を愛しているからこそ、私はここで待っています。しかし、愛は寄り添うものと私は思ってしまいます。
Yes, yes, very Shakespearean.
ここでこうしているのが一番の協力になると理屈では分かっているのに、そんな自分に
Monologuing to yourself about the woes of love.
辛いですね。愛ゆえに待つのは。
A tear plopped onto the mirror. Old, dear memories of her life at her parents' house rose up inside her. Now was the time for her to follow her parents' example. When her father came home late, her mother would always sit up straight waiting for him, preparing for him to arrive at any moment. She would always wait for him, kneeling in the entrance hall. And no matter how late he came home, she'd always wake up all her children and line them up to greet him. Why? At the time, I only thought of her as being exceptionally strict. But at this age, I finally understand how strong she was, persevering in her love for her beloved husband, even after being left alone in charge of the house. I get it. It's like, yes, say thank you to your father for fucking working to the, the early hours of the morning to afford this house and the food you eat, but also like fuck off, Mom, I'm trying to sleep.
見知らぬ赤子を抱かされるのが許されなかったのですね。
The sudden voice made Natsu jump up and look about the room. When she did, there stood a Western lady wrapped in an extravagant dress.
誰です？
Natsu was confused. There's no one like this in the mansion. However, though this was supposedly her first time meeting this person, it felt as though she had seen her somewhere before. Her anger at the ruffian who had snuck into her private room, and her confusion over the appearance of someone she didn't know caused her mind to go blank. So much so that it took a bit of time before she realized that this was the witch of the portrait.
あなたが19年前のあの日に見知らぬ赤子を殺めたことに 私は罪を問いません。
Who doesn't have a couple skeletons in the closet? Just in Natsu's case, it's a baby skeleton.
何の話ですか？
Byato had chosen Natsu as her sacrifice. It was because of what Natsu had done to Battler. Byato didn't know much about the details of Battler's birth. However, after discovering the fragment of the previous game, she had learned that there was a chance that Battler was the baby that Natsu had pushed off a cliff 19 years ago. Although that was just a blue wedge that Battler had used to protect Natsu from being framed, Byato thought it might have been a confession from Battler himself, and if that was the case, to her, Natsuki was an enemy who probably forced Battler to live a painful life. I don't think... I don't think that's what it was. I think there was a little bit of a misdirection there, Byato, Good narrative trick, but probably not what actually happened.
何の話か分かりません。出て行って。ここは私の部屋です。ならば、私の愛ゆえにあなたを殺すこともまた。
kid. Byato slowly stuck out her arms, and with both hands, she squeezed in the air in front of her. That squeeze tightened around Natsu's throat. Natsu's heels lifted off the ground, and a faint purple hand shape appeared around her throat. Natsu frantically scratched at her throat, trying to stop whatever was strangling her, but there was nothing there. So, to an outsider, it just looked as though Natsuki was standing on her toes in anguish, scratching at her own throat. Gotta get the bugs out. The bugs are in my
愛し
throat.
合う二人たちが皆決意を見せました。私とバトラさんへの思いはそれに劣っているとは思いません。私が19年前のあなたの罪を咎めないように、私
Yeah,
も
it's not personal.
自らのこの罪を
Well,
咎め
it
ま
is
せ
a
ん。
little, but, not really. As Natsuki twisted in agony, something she had been grasping fell from her grip. It rolled over to Byato, who dropped her gaze to see what it was. It was Natsuki's spirit mirror. When Byato peered into it, there was a loud crack like a burst of electricity. That sound released Natsuki from the invisible hands, and made Byato topple backwards like a doll. It's okay, Beatrice. I feel like that when I look in a mirror too, unexpectedly, and I just see myself, like, at fucking 3 a.m. on my way to the fridge to eat, like, pepperonis out of the bag, hunched over like a goblin. I'm like, ugh. Coughing, Natsuki tried to comprehend what was going on around her. Byato, whose head was still reeling and foggy as though she had hit it against something hard, slowly attempted to get to her feet. Her eyes were bewildered, as though she didn't really understand what had happened.
これは何なんですか。これは意外だ。雲の巣を触っても平気だったそなたが霊境はダメだというのか。私にも何が何だか分かりません。一体何が。
She had thought that only Byato the Elder possessed non-human weak points, such as getting burned by spiderwebs and wards and having powers sealed by spirit mirrors. However, for some reason, this spirit mirror alone could apparently affect her as well. Nice, what a convenience. Even she couldn't understand what about the spirit mirror could have such an overpowering effect on her. But Natsuki was different. She instantly realized that the reason for the hesitation of this unearthly being, this witch of the portrait, had to be the power of the mirror. Also, I'm noticing my P's are popping a lot more. I'd taken off my pop filters, that way it wouldn't block my microphone when I was doing my exam, and I've just been too lazy to put it back on. So, she rapidly crawled across the floor and picked up the mirror. Then, she stuck it out so that Byato could see it. Byato still didn't fully understand what was happening, so, still sitting down, she looked vacantly at it. And this time, both of them understood the situation completely. Byato realized that the mirror was working some hateful power against her, and Natsuki realized that the spirit mirror had the power to repel witches.
鏡がどうして。
Good question.
それはお前が横島な魔女だからです。霊言新たかなるこの霊境は邪悪な存在の全てを退けるのです。それを向けないで。
With the spirit mirror still held out, Natsuki cautiously closed the gap between them. She was cautious so as to prevent the witch from suddenly lashing out and stealing the mirror, but she steadily moved forward to corner this evil.
あなたが何者なのか私わかるのはあなたは私を殺そうとしたこと。
Well, yeah, but, she didn't actually do it, so... Water under the
こ
bridge,
の霊
bygones
境
be
にひるむ
bygones.
邪悪な存在であるということです。退きなさい、邪悪め。
Just throw some salt at her. Byato didn't understand what was happening herself. She didn't know why she had to fear this spirit mirror. However, when she tried to look at the bright light let off by the spirit mirror, it pierced her eyes. She understood that she had to be afraid, even if she didn't understand why. By now, Byato realized that the spirit mirror was both terrifying and harmful. As it came close to her, she felt an increasingly strong burning sensation all over her whole body, as though someone was approaching her with a hot iron. She couldn't even open her eyes because of the mirror's bright, painful glint.
So, 元の世界へ退散なさい。横島なる者よ。この後ろ宮夏。邪悪に対して一歩たりともひるみはしません。
It's no use. Why? Why is this musty mirror so... If I lose here, I'll be the only one to fail this trial. Just like George-san and Shanna-san and Jessica-san and Kana-san, I want Battler-san to see value in me and treasure me. I've finally managed to admit that, so I can't fail now. Time for her 11th hour power-up.
あなただけが？
信じるんだ。愛の奇跡は必ず起こる。
I love Battler-san. I want him to notice me. I want him to recognize and accept my feelings. My reason for calling him father as I dedicated myself to him was that no one helps a parent expecting something in return, and that helped me to come to terms with getting nothing back. It was a deception to fool myself with. I love Battler-san, and I want him to recognize that. I admit it. I won't hide from it any longer. I was born to love Battler-san and to have him love me back.
だからこんなところで負けられないんです。退散なさい、横島なる者よ。ここにあなたの居場所は存在しません。
Her determination had come too late. If she had possessed it since the beginning, she would probably have finished off Natsuki on the spot without any hesitation. Because she had wavered, and it had taken time to kill Natsuki, and things had ended up like this. Yeah, Bito's crawling through her Metal Gear Solid 4 microwave hallway. But now, I am resolved. I want to love Battler-san. I want him to love me. Yeah, we have to have a fucking big manly final boss fight on top of a nuclear submarine with Ocelot.
そう、それが。
聞きたかった。
Oops. Following a sound like a beetle banging off the walls in the room, the spirit mirror was knocked out of Natsuki's outstretched hand. It fell onto the floor, and the stake flying about the room pierced through it with a crash. You know, need to knock the rust off.
ベアトリーチェ様、試練の遂行を逃げられます。誰か来てください。誰か
Now that the spirit mirror she had been relying on had been smashed, and another strange demon had been added to the vault, Natsuki could do nothing but run for it. However, if Natsuki made a scene and people gathered, the anti-magic toxin would burn Bito. Now was Bito's last chance.
ありがとう、ルシファーさん。覚悟、後ろ宮夏希。
Why are you sizzling? Once again, Bito choked the empty air. This time, she wouldn't let her escape. She had to end Natsuki's pain right away, for her sake if nothing else. But her strength wasn't enough. While scratching at her throat, Natsuki fought to escape the room. Her shaking hand stretched out to the lock on the door. Locked room is one of the definitions that makes a witch. Even unlocking the door would strengthen the anti-magic toxin a little. Since Beato was at her limit even within the locked room, if Nazi undid that lock, Beato's power would weaken immediately, and Nazi would surely escape into the hallway. Their strengths were matched. However, Natsuhi's, plural, her strength, began to surpass Beato slightly. The power of the living to live is fundamentally stronger than the power of magic. Of course, Beato was mustering all her might. However, Natsu was just slightly stronger.
十分だ。ルシファー、やれ。
ギョイ
Oh, DM's fudging the rolls. Lucifer transformed into a stake and, like the time she had smashed Natsu's spirit mirror, flew violently around the room. Then, she stuck Natsu's forehead, struck. There was a CK there. Natsuhi crumpled slowly. When Beato saw this, she also fell to her knees, breathing hard.
ねえゼパルーン、これってありなの？ベアトリーチェは自分の力だけで試練を成し遂げていないわ。
But through the power of love, it was completed, so it counts,
そうだ
yeah?
ねフルフル。確かに試練は誰の助けも借りずに成し遂げなくてはならない。
でもね、ひょっとしたらそれには例外があるんじゃないかしら。
Like?
愛する二人は互いで一人だもの。これは手助けじゃない。
バトラさん。
たかだか第一
Sorry,
の番
Natsu,
から
you're just not having a good time in these. Ooh, in the second half, huh?
申し訳ございません。追いつけを守らなくて。
追いつけ？
その部屋で
That's fine.
おとなしくしていなくて。
Beato hung her head apologetically. When he saw this, Tyler scratched his head uncomfortably.
それを言ったら俺も申し訳なかった。
Yeah, I was kind of a dick.
言葉を選ばなかった。
いいえ、お父様。いえ、バトラさんは
There we
何
go,
も
baby
悪いこと
steps.
はありません。
いいぜ。好きに呼べばいい。
Yeah, if you want to call him daddy, go for it. You know, you guys can do your own thing. Just don't be bent out of shape if people find it weird if you do it in public. Butler had always looked at the new Beatrice sternly. However, that was gone from his expression now.
確かに。かつてのお前は俺をバトラと呼びつけで呼んでいた。俺は最初お前にそれと同じ呼び方を求めて押し付けていたかもしれない。しかしそんなのに意味はないんだ。お前はベアトだが、お前
Yeah, it's
は
complicated.
お前だ。好きに呼べばいい。
バトラさん。
そうだな。その呼び方がいいな。さすがにお父様は俺の趣
Yeah,
味じゃ
you're a
ね
little
えぞ。
young for it. Wait till you get at least a couple grays. Until this point, she had hesitated just to say Battler's name at all. Even if she had known that Battler wanted her to say his name without honorifics, that would have been beyond her right now. And even if she had been able to call him that, doing so could have hurt Battler even more. However, now she was allowed to call Battler by his name. If you just looked into her eyes, there'd be no need to describe just how happy this made her feel.
ゼパルとフルフルに聞いた。おかしなゲームが始まっているようだな。
はい。
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
勝手なことをしてすみません。
いや、いい。そういう無軌道で何を始めるかわからないところも、
Oh,
実にお前ら
now
しい。
that we're back in like the demon lounge, is you know, Peace Beato also here still?
それにその、まあ、ゲームの趣旨も聞いてる。二人一組で挑むのが正しいことになってるらしいな。
ええ、その通りですバトラ卿。
もしも見事 我らの試練を勝ち残れたなら
我らはあなたたち二人を祝福し魔法の奇跡を授けましょう。
I don't know. It's still kind of fishy coming from you two.
こいつらがベアとの黄金蝶のブローチに力を与えてたらしい。だからその効果は保証済みってわけさ。俺とお前の腐れ縁もも
Yeah,
う
like
随
a
分
bad rash.
たまにはこういう遊びがあってもいいだろうぜ。
バトラさん。
おや、聞いたかいフルフル。バトラ教も試練に参加するようだ。
驚くには値しない。だってこれは最初から
Alright,
分かってい
yeah,
た
great.
こと
Now
だも
when
の。
does it get to the fucking shonen tournament arc?
ようこそ我らの試練へ、バトラ教。ではあなたは誰を生贄に？
俺の仕事はすでに終わってる。確認するといい。
I
か
just
し
did it
こ
off
まりま
screen?
した。
Alright.
バトラ教。さあフルフル、確認してこよう。
そうしましょう。でもゼバル、これで愛し合う6人はみんな試練を成し遂げてしまったわ。
Round 2.
次はどうすればいいかしら。
You, I
6
don't
人
know,
の
play
覚悟は
Jenga?
本物だ。さらに次の試練で試すとしよう。
The two noisy demons disappeared. It seemed that they left to go check on the sacrifice Battler had killed. But it also seemed that they had done so in order not to bother Battler and Beato, who could finally look each other in the eye and talk. Nope, okay, seems like they're just here alone.
ここまでの物語はいかがですか？
Weird. When suddenly asked this question, Anjay immediately came to her senses. Then, realizing that she had become immersed in this woman's tale, she felt a bit of defeat and tried to look displeased.
愛の試練云々で
Yeah,
巧み
it's
にごまか
different.
してるけど、ちゃっかりと6人が死んで第一の番を構成してるわ。うまいものね。
ありゃ、ほんとだ。こいつは気づかなかった。
I mean, I just noticed a little bit ago when it, brought up that, oh, Battler's here now, and he got someone. I'm like, yep, there we go. Amakusa clapped his hands as though he'd been outsmarted. Even though he figured it out before me, he played the fool.
愛し合う恋人たちの数がたまたま6人だっただけのこと。それが第一の番とうまく合致したのは偶然半分、様式美半分。その方が運命的で面白い。人間は無意味な2つの事象を無理やり関連づけようとする悪
Yeah,
意がある。
it's a bad trait of humans. It's literally fucking baked into our brains to recognize patterns, even if they're not there, to try to fucking brute force patterns into existence because it makes us happy.
それを運命的と読み解かせるのが読み物の
Not like on a
騙しでしょ
personal level, but like it makes like your brain feel good.
お嬢はディスティニーとかミラクルとかそういうのに冷たいタイプらしいですな。
UFO と同じよ。誰もが知ってるけど、誰も見たことないものだわ。
Well,
そいつはクールな例えだ。
I can neither confirm nor deny.
と、いつもの私なら愛だの幻想だのはミステリーには不要な無駄なシーンねとばっさり行きたいところだけど、それはおこのぎさんに否定されたわ。そういう愛のない見方だけでは真実に迫れないってね。
Okay.
ああ、おこのぎの旦那の殺し文句ですかい？愛がなければ見えない。
Yeah, I know.
それそれ、人の家族を物語の中で勝手に殺すことに対する怒りは置いておいて、あえてこの物語を書いた八条先生に敬意を表して言うなら、その描写には意味があることになる。何しろこれだけの文章量を割いて、散々愛だの試練だの語って。
I don't know, or she could just be like a Tolkien-esque author who writes like fucking 30 pages to describe how dark a cave is.
つまりこれがこの物語のテーマであり、キ
I
ーワ
mean,
ード
yeah,
だって
it's
こ
it's
と
good
に
for
な
the
るわ。
world building, but I don't got all day.
おや、赤インク以外で書いた文字はすべて読むに値しないとまで言い切る御人も多いというのに、光栄なるかな人の子よ。黒い文字も読んでくれて。 物語は書き手が何かを伝えるために書くものよ。そしてそれはどういうわけか、直接書いたら無粋という
I mean,
奥
either
ゆか
that
しい
or the
面倒な
publisher
作法がある。
has them on a contract that they need to write this many volumes of a story, so they just fucking do whatever to meet the quotas.
愛がなければ真実に至れない云々という描写はこれまでの作品にも品質するわ。それがこの新作ではさらに顕著。
Yeah, it's very
書
direct.
き手が一番伝えたくて考えてほしいのはそれってことになるわ。
Thinking about it, there have been many scenes about love since Beato first appeared. Even when she first appeared before Shannon, she spoke clearly about how love was the single element of the world. And the golden butterfly brooch she gave her was also an item for love. She said that she enjoyed sowing seeds of love and watching complications arise with a sneeze. Ugh, my nose is gonna start running. Give me a sec. Ew, that was gross. My nose just turned into a faucet there, and I popped my ears, so now my voice sounds weird in my microphone. And when Shannon stopped borrowing her power, the reason for her argument was also love. After Beato's interactions with Battler started up in full, scenes about love were toned down for a while. But the "without love it cannot be seen" definition of magic was mentioned repeatedly. Then, in the tale right before this one, where Beato had become like a doll, the scenes shown made it seem almost as though Battler and Beato accepted each other as adversaries, or possibly something more. In the end, Battler regained some kind of memory, and his impression of Beato underwent a complete change. And then there's this game. From the beginning and throughout, the word love has been repeated over and over again.
あなたが書いた物語は愛が何度も繰り返
Yeah,
さ
very
れる。
sappy.
でもそれはマリアお姉ちゃんの主張でもベアトリーチェの主張でもない。八条東也の主張だわ。
そうです。それこそが私が語りたいこと。そして私なりの答えなのです。
答えじゃあつまり
Then what's the question?
12年前の事件は全ておかしな悪魔の愛の試練で引き起こされたと？
バカバカしい。私はあんたの恋愛小説を読みにここまで来たんじゃないわ。
Maybe if you consider the real demon society.
私が知りたいのはあんたが至ったと自称する真実よ。
愚かなるかな人の子よ。これだけ文章を割いてまだ伝わらないというのですか。
Look, man, once there's, so many words, you kind of lose the forest for the trees, or is it the other way around? You know what I mean. Then obviously condescending gaze, Hachijo shrugged. It was clear that she was trying to provoke Anjay. She was probably hinting, if you can't stand talking with me, you can get out. Perhaps even, if you're gonna read my noble work and fail to understand it, what's more, not even try. Maybe I sneeze again. You can get out for that reason as well. Under normal circumstances, Anjay would have already thrown a fit and left. However, Anjay couldn't do that. Though she found it sickening that a stranger was playing around with her family's fates in these stories, after reading this far through her tale, she was growing increasingly certain of something else. Just as Hachijo's followers said, this tale really did have the same presence, the same scent, as the tales written by Beatrice. The author was certainly different. However, the tale had the same scent because the author had arrived at the real truth. Yeah, we're baking, we're baking two cakes here. The method's slightly different, but we're using the same base ingredients. Anjay was beginning to acknowledge this. Hachijo Toya was the one who reached Beatrice's truth. An endless witch like Beatrice who could add to the endlessly stretching parallel worlds of the cat box.
ベアトリーチェの真実にたどり着いたものならば、私でなくとも新たな物語を紡げるでしょう。今回の原稿をもってきっと私以外にも真実に至るものが必ず現れる。そのものもまた新たな物語を紡ぐ資格を得るのです。
どんどん無限の魔女が増えていくわ。
そう。そして何人もの無限の魔女たちがベアトリーチェの猫箱の物語を増やしていく。
See that like it's a good
増
thing.
えれば増えるほどまた新たに真実に至るものが現れる。そうすることで一番最初の無限の魔女ベアトリーチェがあれだけの枚数の手紙に物語を記してボトルに詰めて海に投じた労力が初めて報われるのです。
Okay.
あなたは私に怒りの言葉をぶつけ席を立つこともできた。しかしそれをしませんでした。なぜ？
悔しいけれど、あんたの物語の中に何かの真相、もしくはヒントがあることを認めつつあるからよ。
Oh, you might not particularly like it. There's value in reading it. I already have my own ideas. However, that is no more than looking with a single eye. Unless I accept a different viewpoint from my own and look at things from more than one angle, I'll never be able to see the truth in 3 dimensions. That's my interpretation of without love it cannot be seen.
それでよい、人の子よ。後ろ宮家の最後の生き残りであるあなたが真実に至り、無限の魔女になることを運命も待ち望んでいるでしょう。私という存在など、あなたという真の継承者を覚醒させるためのただエンジェル・ベアトリーチェ。
Yes, how magnanimous of you. Sometimes I have no idea what she's saying, but I'm positive she knows something, and maybe she actually has reached the truth as she claims. To summarize, I couldn't understand the truth from just the 2 message bottles Beatrice left behind. And since then, I've been reading tale after tale of hints.
これはヒントという名の挑戦であり、挑発なわけだわ。
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be a rough one, Chief.
いかにも。
It's not my strong suit.
上等じゃない。あんたがたどり着いたという真実を
I'm a very, very instinct-based individual.
やはり
The
私
unga
は
bunga in my brain
こ
is
こに
strong.
訪れるべきだったんだわ。
Very reptilian.
その通り。未だ至れぬから私が招いたのです。
Let the truth I see and the truth you see overlap. Just as you see things with a single eye, so do I. And now that I've found you, for the first time, I too will be able to see the truth with both eyes. Same.
ようやく第一の番が起こりまし
Good
た
for you, now you finally have murders to solve.
すくすく眠い展開でした。
片目に目やにがついてるぜ。
どこに？いい加減なこと
Yeah,
言わ
clean
な
out
いで
your
ください。
gunk.
お望み通り。
Though to be fair, I'm waking up like that nowadays too, because my eyes are watering the entire time when I'm asleep. It's real
ま
gross.
ずは第一の番だ。
Alright, nice, nice, very good. Now, let us proceed. After I take a well-earned bathroom break. Be back in a second. Alright, and I'm back. Man, I'm dying. I'm just dying, man. I'm not sure if it's, a bad thing about allergies, but no, the runny nose is rough. Like, that's bad. However, it's a different runny nose from like when you have like a cold or like a sinus infection. That's like globules, like when you fucking try to blow your nose, which also bad. But allergy runny nose is different. It's all just water. It's terrible. I hate it. It's rough. It's bad, man. It's real bad. Erica was dozing off on the bed, so when a knock sounded on the door, it took some time before she noticed. She looked at the clock and saw that not much time had passed since she had lain down.
はい、どちら様ですか？こんな時間に探偵の部屋をノックするからには、そうだ。今回のゲームを始める前に一つ、
Okay.
ああ、例の探偵宣言とやら
Sure.
か。好きにするがいいぜ。
いいえ、その逆です。勝負のレートを上げようということです。
勝負のレートとは
Making some side bets?
何面白そうなこと言い出すじゃない。どういうことよ。簡単な話よ。前回のゲームはバトラが1本取ったわ。だから今回エリカが1本を取っても
Sure.
イーブンにしかならない。
前回のゲームは引き分けだったので、
勝って当たり前のゲームを落としたのよ。あんなの負けでなくてなんだというのよ。
Mm-hmm.
ねえ、エリカ。
You know, you think it's in the bag. But,
はい、我が主。私が無様を晒さなければ勝てて当然のゲームでした。ははん、なるほど。
it's like the Falcons blowing like a fucking 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
つまり
In
今
like
回
the, like
探
the
偵宣言を出さない
the
ことで
fourth quarter.
わざと不利に戦い、
Jesus Christ,
それ
that was
でも
such a
勝っ
good
てみ
game.
せちゃって。
That's a lie. It was a terrible game. It was fucking awful. I had a miserable time watching that Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Falcons. I was just sitting in my dorm room watching on TV. I'm a Pats guy. I grew up like 45 minutes from Boston. Like miserable. I'm sitting there just watching them get blown the fuck out. It was a slaughter, you know. And I'm like, I guess I'll have my pizza. Went to go, you know, heat up my frozen pizza. The oven in my dorm room is broken, so it's like, great. It's just gonna sit here and eat an entire bag of Tostitos scoops with no dipping sauce and watch my team get destroyed in the Super Bowl. But then, you know, spun it around in crazy madness. The Falcons suck.
前回の負けを
Fuck all the birds. That includes you, Philly.
って魂胆ね。
Eagles suck.
バトラさんの渾身のゲー
And
ム
as for
に
those opinions, I gotta be careful where I live around here. I'm like an hour away from Philly, so
身の程知らず以
it's
前
not
に
safe for me there.
失礼です。
I'm a persona non grata.
そうだな。むしろ負けた時の言い訳にするための保険にすら聞こえるぜ。
確かにそういう見方もあるわね。勝てば大勝利。でも負ければ言い訳可能なんて、ちょ
Mhm.
っとエリカ側に虫のいい話だわ。大丈夫よ。ちゃんと勝てる
Oh, yeah,
も
I'm
の
sure
は
will.
公平だわ。今回のゲームに探偵宣言なしの人間で勝てれば、バトラたちの魔女幻想は粉々の再起不能。でも逆にエリカが負けるようなら、このゴミクズ探偵は忘却の深淵に
Oh.
最悪のかけらと一緒にぶち込んでやるの。ね、公平でしょ。
Yeah, no pressure.
探偵という超人でなく、ただの人間が魔女幻想を打ち破るという最高の勝利。それと引き換えに自身の破滅をかけてるわけ。私はかつてのベアトとあんたのゲームみたいにダラダラとぬるいゲームを繰り返されちゃもう退屈なわけ。だから勝負のレートを上げて一気に勝負をさせるわけ。
Well, as long as you're having fun, Bird. Really, that's all that
確かにそう
matters.
ね。今回のゲームをバトラが通しちゃったら、ベアとのゲームにバトラが勝利したことになり、ゲームは終了してしまう。ある意味逃すことのできない決
Like
戦
Cell
なのね。
with like professional wrestling, kayfabe?
言い分は分かった。エリカはそれでいいのか？
ええ、もちろんです。
it's more that you don't have a choice.
前回の敗北で失った主よりの信頼を取り戻すために私は
It's
自
like
分
when
の
I'm at
破
work
滅
sitting
す
at
ら
my
もか
desk
け
just
るのです
relaxing and they come up and ask me like, hey, can you go do this? Like, go out to the jet and do this? It's like, I mean, do I want to? Fuck no. But you're gonna make me. It's like, yeah, I want to say no, but I can't, so sure, whatever. I just say, yeah, whatever.
お前の意志
Not as sassy as that, but I make sure to give a good huff before I stand up.
どうしたのエリカ、答えてあげなさい。当然です。私の意志です。私は絶対に負けません。探偵宣言なんかなくても あんたを必ず打ち破ってみせます。
Yeah, beat you with one hand tied behind my back.
バトラさん。
いいだろう。お前がそうしたいと言うならその勝負を受けてやる。
ありがとうございます。受けたことを必ず後悔させてや
Don't
り
be
ますか
fucking
ら。
mad at him.
思
He's
えば
not the
バ
one
トラだって
twisting your arm.
人間側だった時はずっと探偵権限なんて便利な力は一切なかった。許されてたのは青き真実と復讐要求だけ。
そういうこと。ある意味前回のゲームの方がアンフェアだったわけだわ。
Yes.
それで勝ちを落とすのだから、それは負けと全く同じ。
Yeah, you can at least do that, right?
好きにしろ。お前が探偵宣言をしたくなったらいつでもすればいい。今はそれを保留していると
I
理
mean,
解し
you
て
have the benefit of knowing, like, what the hell's going on.
誰が宣言なんかするもんですか。
You know, not all the details of the story, but, like, the mechanics.
あんた程度の相手に。
When battlers spend half the time just going, what? Huh?
では始めなさい。私の退屈は
Oh,
もう始
gosh.
まっているわ。お任せ。
Fucking someone
我
get
が
burn a
命
fidget spinner.
必ずや魔女幻想を打ち破ってご覧に入れます。
George and Jessica had been the ones knocking on Erica's door. They were asking whether Battler and Maria had come to this room. Of course, they hadn't.
ずいぶん前に下に飲み物を取りに行くと言って降りたきり戻らないんだ。ひょっとしてエリカちゃんの部屋に来てるかなと思ってね。
Did you go downstairs?
来るわけないです。屋敷にでも行ったんじゃないですか。
屋敷の使用人室や食堂に電話してるんだけど誰も出なくて。
Ah,
あ
a
なたた
missing
ちは
person
ここ
in
に
this
いてく
case.
ださい。私はちょっと屋敷の様子を見てきます。
危ないよ、こんな時間に。
この閉鎖された島に
I don't know what time
不
it
審
is.
者がいるはずもないじゃないですか。
I walked off before I could see the hands on the clock start ticking.
いとこ部屋とやらにいてください。何かあったら連絡しますから。ゲストハウスの使用人室の人たちにもゲストハウスを出ないように伝えてください。では。
ちょっとエリカさん。
変わった子だね。
I got that right. After speaking her mind and not listening to anything else, Erica dashed down the stairs and rushed outside.
第一の番は夜が明けてから発覚がパターンでしたが、今回は即勝負できましたか。ゲストハウスで事件は起きていないとなると、惨劇の舞台は屋敷ってことになりますね。
Nice, really narrowed it down. Though she had an umbrella up, Erica got drenched as she sprinted. She brashly licked the raindrops that dripped down her face. Erica was now at her most energetic. According to her memory of the previous game, the entrance to the mansion would be locked at the same time the family conference started. However, the lock was undone this time. Had someone unlocked it, or had the lock not been set, had it been possible to set the lock? Had it not been possible to set the lock?
まあ考えても無駄ですね。そんなのゲームマスターの気まぐれかもしれませんから。
Yeah, don't hurt your head thinking too hard about it. As soon as she entered the entrance hall, the door to the parlor opened violently. Out of it flew Goda's large
お
body.
や、こんばんは、ゴーダさん。何かございましたか？
Oh yeah, Rose is dead.
警察救急車を
That expression really is wonderfully pathetic. Just fitting for the first one to discover the crime.
どうか落ち着いてください。台風のことでどうやって警察と救急車が来てくれるって言うんです？どうせ電話は普通にされてるんですから落ち着いてください。
Kraus and Rudolph's yells could be heard from the parlor. Their shaken appearance perfectly signified the arrival of the first twilight.
それでは死者と現場状況の再構築をお願いします。
Sure.
小休止に出た人間が戻らないので、大人たちが客間へ行ったところ、扉が内から閉ざされて開かなかった。後にわかるが、客間内の帽子掛けがガンドン開きの扉に内側から缶抜きにされていた。
扉は内から閉ざされ、そして窓も内側から施錠と言いたいわけですね。
そういうことだ。外に回り、窓から客間内を見たところ、ローザがソファーに不自然な格好で横になり、額から血を流しているのが見えた。
Really, her forehead?
そこでガラスを割って客間に入り、他にマリアムも壁際に血まみれで倒れているの
Oh
を
yeah,
発
well
見した。
Marie did get crushed. You know,
なる
in the
ほど。
magic verse.
それは大
What
騒ぎ
really
です
happened
ね。
is up to interpretation.
他の現場は？
エリカが屋敷に入った時、玄関が施錠されていなかったのは、この客間を外から確認するために出入りがあった分、その直前までは施錠されていたため、他にも姿を消した人間たちが屋敷内のどこかで倒れている可能性があるとして、大人たちは今屋敷中を探し回っている。
先ほど長々と見せていただいたゲロカス妄想での犠牲者と死んだ場所は実際にも同じですか？
同じだ。
客間にはローザとマリア、それからナツヒが自室で、キリエがクラウスの書斎、エヴァはバラ邸へ。いいえ、貴賓室に
Yeah,
移動させたんで
just
したっ
pretend
け？
everything that happened, you know, in the Rose Garden didn't happen. You know,
そうだ。
because it didn't.
エヴァの遺体は貴賓室で見つかる。
これで犠牲者
It was just more flashy to have it take place there, more dramatic. You know, the ambiance was right.
おや、第一の番には一人足りない。6人目は誰でどこです？
Yeah, Battler, what happened? Did Battler make himself one of the bodies? That would be a twist.
旦那様、この部屋にもチェーンが。切断しろい。犯人が隠れてるかもしれねえ。ゴード、やる。
Rudolph and Kraus had brought rifles from Kinzo's prize collection. They yelled at Goda, who was carrying the bolt cutters, to cut the chain. Victims have been found, one after another, at several locations inside the mansion. The men who had lost their wives searched through the mansion in a rage, looking for the culprit. This was a guest room. It had previously been a room where the relatives would stay, but it hadn't been used much since the construction of the guest house. As I try not to sneeze. This forgotten room was locked off from the inside by the chain. Come on, it's chained from a door. It's not like a stainless steel fucking like actual like I don't know heavy equipment chain, bud. As soon as the chain was cut, Rudolph pushed Goda aside and flew into the room.
誰が嫌がる。出てきやがれ。ベッドに誰かいるぞ。兄貴、明かりよ。
Flashbang, thanks, bud. Kraus pushed the switch on the wall, the guest room lit up, and the figure lying on the bed came into view. No! No, I was right. I'm so smart.
お前どうしてこんなところに
Rudolph crumpled to his knees and fell into Battler's body. No words could console him as he cried with a mad sorrow. In a single night, he had lost both his wife and his son. During this time, Kraus checked the window locks and the bathroom and searched the closet to find if anyone was hiding there, but he found no one.
バトラーバトラーちくしょうあー
Oh, damn, that's rough, bud.
気の毒です信じられんことだがこの部屋も密室だそうだキリエさんがいた私の書斎ナスヒンの自室エヴァの貴賓室そしてこのバトラ
It's
クの
quite a
客室
few locked rooms, huh?
全てが密室ということではないかわけがわからんまさか自殺だとでも言うのか
Well, it's a bit of a coincidence.
そんなことあるもんかこれがどう自殺だってんだ
What they do to you, bud?
あーバトラー
おや、これは意外でした。まさか6人目はあなた自身とは。
たまには自分殺しも面白いもんさ。
If you say so. I mean, it certainly does add a little pizzazz to the
そして
story.
すべての現場はいずれも密室です。魔法以外では成し得ない殺人です。
それを暴くゲームじゃないですか。すなわち魔法以外で成し得なければならない殺人というわけです。だって本当に魔法でしかできなかったらそれってゲームが成立しませんから。
面白い考え方だな。
Yeah, there's no point in a puzzle that can't be solved.
なるほど。
It's like when you get
確かに俺たちの
one of those
ゲーム
shitty little mazes in the back of
そう
an
いうゲーム。
Applebee's menu. That it's just, printed with no solution. This game is fair. The goal is to explain, without magic, the strange crimes that the opposing side claims to have carried out using magic. If that couldn't be done, it wouldn't be a game. In other words, just as Erica said, it has to be possible to perform the murders without magic. To view it from the opposite angle, the witch side has a certain responsibility. You have to make a crime that can be reproduced with tricks and not magic. As long as the human side can't figure out those tricks, the witch side can use all kinds of magic and illusions. In other words, in order to carry out a locked room murder with magic, it is necessary to create a crime that is possible to carry out by human hands.
今ならわかるわ。セールチーヤでムカつくクラスメートたちを殺せと7姉妹に命じたとき、どうして彼女らにそれができなかったか。
Yeah, there was no way to obfuscate it with, ooh, it was just magic. It just died. Ooh, how'd it happen? I don't know. It was a little...
そしてマモンが言った意味が今ならわかるわ。
No way to make it happen.
魔法は自らの手で成し遂げられることしかできないという。
Yeah. At that time, if I had possessed the determination to kill my classmates... No, that's not all. At the time, if I had been capable of killing my classmates, capable of going through with it, then the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would probably have pulled it off for me. They could only accomplish what I could do myself. No, that's not it either. They could take what I had accomplished and turn it into magic. Now you're working backwards. With magic. Fine. Fine. Of course, there were a great number of witnesses in the classroom, so that would probably have been impossible. Ryone-chan would call it being burned by the anti-magic toxin. However, if I had called those classmates out somewhere without witnesses and carried out murder myself, That would be when the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could carry out a magical murder.
魔女は魔法をもってしても自らにできないことをできない。自らにできることのみ、魔法で装飾できる。面白きかな。
The smoke screen.
魔法を使わずして成し遂げる者が魔法を語り魔女を名乗るのだから。このエリカとやらはそれを初めから理解している。だから絶対に魔女に屈しない。
Because witches and magic aren't real.
絶対にトリックで説明できるという信念を持ってる。
At least in this 2-day stretch in Rokenjima.
かつてのバトラにはそれがなかったから、これまでああも翻弄されてきたというわけだ。
このルールを見破られたら、魔女に勝ち目はなくなるわ。だから、それを見破られる前に、相手を屈服させなくちゃいけない。長引けば長引くほど、そしてヒントを与えれば与えるほど、魔女は圧倒的に不利になっていく。
Once again, my thoughts are spinning in circles. Why did Beato prolong this game until she lost? Many victims had been found, and the mansion was still wrapped in chaos. Hideyoshi's group seemed to have gone to the guest house, worrying about the safety of the kids there. Grouse and Rudolph were in the hall, talking about what should be done next. During a short gap in this chaos, Erica dashed all about the mansion. She was checking the crime scenes. Normally, when the detectives authority with the detective's authority, Erica had the right to openly investigate the crime scene to her heart's content. However, this time, she hadn't yet invoked that authority. Because of that, with her being a guest and an outsider, there was little to no chance that she'd be allowed to investigate. So, she was forced to quickly check all the crime scenes for now, while she could still run about as she pleased. In the servant room, there had been a clear folder containing a plan of the mansion's interior. Because she had borrowed that, she knew the location of every room in the mansion. Erica efficiently made her way throughout the mansion, dashing to each crime scene in turn.
エリカ卿
Yeah, with a building this big, even if it is like, you know, residential, it's probably required by like fire code for you to have like, you know, layouts spread around the mansion, you know, for you know, evacuation purposes.
はい、何です？
エリカ卿は確かに写真並みの驚くべき記憶力をお持ちです。それは探偵権限と組み合わせることで何者にも欺かれぬものとなり得ました。
ああ、分かってます。探偵宣言をしていない私は写真並みの記憶力を持っていても欺かれない保証はないってわけですね。
Why not?
もちろん理解していますとも。かといって現場を直接視認しないわけにはいきませんから。前回のゲームではそこに慢心し悔やみきれぬ失態を犯しましたから。
極論、今のエリカ卿はどれほど研修をしようとも死んだふりを見破れない可能性が常に残る、ということです。すべての状況を個別に確定させるためにもバトラに復唱要求をする必要があるでしょう。
それを引き出すために青き真実を駆使しなくてはなりませんね。分かってます。基礎を十分に非探偵権限などなくてもハンデにはなりません。
Sure
か
about
つて
that?
のバトラと同じ条件で戦っているだけなんですから。
I mean, yeah, and did you see how they fucking kicked him around for a bit? Yes. This fight is retracing the old days when Battler and Beato fought so fiercely. I have no conveniences, such as the detective's authority. I truly do have to fight the same way the old Battler fought. Thinking of it this way, it may be true that I was in a very blessed, unfair position last game, just as my master said. It may be difficult without the detective's authority, which also holds my honor as a detective. But I won't let that be a handicap. I know what magic is, and I'm fully aware of how to fight with the red and blue truths. I know the way to fight in this game many times better than the old battler did. I quickly visited the VIP room, Krause's study, and Nazi's room on the second floor, as well as the parlor and the guest room on the first floor. This time, checking with my own eyes, as I neglected to do in the last game. First off, all the scenes were made to look like locked rooms. Well, I guess it's been updated who's dead. Half covered, because, impossible to confirm their deaths fully. Corpse discovered in her own room. Rudo Erica did not perform a sufficiently detailed investigation, so the details of the cause of death are unknown. Is that the same with all of them? Yeah, just the location is different. Okay, okie doke. Possibly of special notice the fact that the master keys have no relation to the tricks this time. The locked rooms were all constructed without relying on any elements that could be locked or unlocked from the outside by a master key or something else. The windows were locked from the inside, and the doors were all locked and chained. The master key can get around all of the locks on the doors, but the window locks and the chain locks are more trouble than they might appear. I haven't yet used a repetition request to get confirmation that it's impossible to manipulate them from the outside, but I'm sure he'll be able to save in red. It'd be stupid otherwise. I mean, you still need to ask anyway.
今の私はただの人間。遺体の死亡確認さえ満足にできやしない。
Last time I neglected to check the bodies, and let a massive piece of magic get by me. I won't fail like that again. If I let that happen even once more, I won't be able to face the master I'm so indebted to.
すべての現場を確認し、情報の整理が終わりました。ご報告いたします。
お願いします。
まず、すべての部屋は窓の施錠とチェーンロック等による外部よりの干渉の困難な方法によって密室を構築されていました。唯一の例外はローザとマリアの死んでいた客間のみです。
That one was barred with like a coat, fucking hat stand.
金慶、謹んで申し上げる。帽子掛けが勘抜きにされていたものなり。
実質的にチェーンロックと同様の内側のみより施錠可能と思われるものなり。
Yeah, close enough.
マスターキーによる解釈を完全に封じた密室を構成するためでしょう。客間の性格上、チェーンロックがないため、他の何かで代用することも自然です。
Can't really chain lock
な
that
ら
one.
どうしてチェーンロックのある他の部屋を密室に選ばなかったかが興味
I
深い
suppose you could. You would just have to put the chain on like one door and let it kind of just dangle there in the middle and have like the lock part on the other one, and when they're slid shut, you set it so it's nice and taut, so that way it can't be slid or pushed open.
バトラが死んでいた客室は他にも数室あって同じような構造をしてたわけですよね。
You need to mix it up every now and again.
はい、そうです。
ならそこに閉じ込めれば全員チェーンロックの密室ということでより美しかったはずなのに、どうもこの客間の帽子掛けの勘抜きとやらがうさんくさいです。復唱要求でよく追求するべきでしょうね。あと遺体なんですが前回の首がバッサリ、みたいに探偵権限がなくとも絶対の死亡を確認できるようなものはありましたか？
Of course, she checked all the corpses and all the crime scenes this time. However, without the detective's authority, she had no guarantee that she would be able to see through any fake deaths with certainty. The old battler had also started fighting by doubting whether the victims were truly dead. It was the same for Erica.
金慶、謹んで申し上げる。絶対の死を物理的に確認できる遺体はないと知りたまえ。
Yeah, their heads were all still attached.
金慶、謹んで申し上げたてまつり。 いずれの遺体も装飾された偽装死の可能性を否定できぬものなり。
まあ死亡確定の復讐要求をしたところでバトラが簡単に答えてくれるとも思いませんが、やれやれ。
私はベアとの時の6連鎖密室の方が面白かったけど。
Let's not talk about that one. I haven't figured it out.
でも
Mainly because that was
マ
like
スターキーが一
4 months
切
ago
通
for
用
me.
しないという意味においては密室の完成度は
Don't
今
ask
回
me to try to
の方
remember
が
all the
上ね。
details about those.
バトラが狙って
You
く
know,
る
I
密室
prefer to, you know, live in the
おお
present
むね
and, you know, look towards the future. No point thinking about things that happened in the past.
密室錯覚と事件錯覚、このどちらかね。
密室錯覚はわかるわ。
Mm-hmm.
一見密室に見えて、
You know, it looks like a
実は
locked room, but
そう
it's
じゃ
not.
ないってことでしょ。事件錯覚ってのは何？
事件が起こったと錯覚す
Yeah,
る
no crime actually happened. They're not dead. They're just
つまり
faking.
本当に死んでいるのかどうかというこ
何それ。
Yeah, they're just
バカバカ
hibernating.
しい。いくら密室でも中の人
Or
が
an
生きてたらそんなのただのトイレでおしっこしてるのと同じだわ。
Huh? What? Huh?
でも
What?
今回の密
What
室
does that
殺
mean?
人
Huh?
ぶっちゃけそれが回答だとしか
All
思え
right,
ない
like being in the bathroom? Okay, sure. Like you go in there and you close the door and you lock it.
と。チェーンロックを外側から細工する無限の可
But
能
then, like,
性。
you're an old person and you slip and you hit your head on the doorknob and you die.
隠し扉の意味、遠隔殺人の意味、あるいは自殺の可能性だって、そもそも密室が成立しているのかさえわからないという
私はバトラのゲーム版裏から見てるから知ってるけど、
No, she's peeking behind the
こ
screen.
れは完璧な密室よ。密室は
She
内
can see
部
his
から
DM
のみ構
notes.
築され、外部からは構築も解除も干渉も一切できない。
Alright.
それ
Airtight.
赤で言える？
さすがにそれはバトラに悪いから遠慮するわ。ベルンが私を愛してるんだったら私の発言も赤き真実で見えるはずよ。
なら密室は完璧。つまりこれは事件錯覚ってことになるわ。
そうなるわね。だとしたらこれは全部狂言密室だわ。大方エリカがあまりに空気読めずに探偵探偵と騒ぐものだから、
And just pretended to be dead.
後ろ宮家みんなで結託して、
Sure.
狂言殺人を披露してからかっ
Put
て
it in
み
her
たって
place.
ことじゃない？あら、これ正解？私ってば超名探偵。
それが困ったことに、これは狂言じゃないのよ。犠牲者はきっちり殺されてるわ。
2日目の24時の時点でとかじゃなくて？
探偵宣言を出してこそいないけど、彼女の検視は極めて正確よ。
A corpse is a corpse.
私が赤き真実を与えられるくらいにね。
それでエリカの検視時に間違いなく死亡してたってことになるの？
ええ、そうよ。それはもうがっつりと。
でも赤き真実では言ってあげないのね。
Nope.
エリカはその赤が喉から手
You
が
know,
出
she'll
るほ
never
ど欲し
grow
いだろう
unless she
に。
does things on her own.
だって今回のあいつ、探偵でさえないもの。赤き真実なんてあげないわ。
Not even as a treat.
しかしとなるとすごいじゃない。バトラの今回のこれ完璧な密室殺人だわ。
あら、そうなる？
Maybe.
エリカ大丈夫？一見普通の密室殺人だけど地味にかなりヤバい密室だわ。これ探偵権限さえないエリカにはちょっと荷が重いんじゃない？
自称名探偵だもの。きっとエリカはやってくれるわ。探偵ですらない人間風情に打ち破られたら、バトラの
How
部屋とも最
embarrassing.
高にざまあないくらいに粉々でしょ。
それに万一
Yeah, it
エ
wouldn't
リ
be
カが
very
負け
good
ても
luck.
最悪のかけらにぶち込んで忘却の深淵に叩き込んで遊ぶから、それはそれで面白そうだし。
そういうこと。私たちはどっちに転んでも退屈しないの。
あんたってば
Win-win.
本当に血も涙もないわね。
ま、そんな黒猫を雑巾のように絞って一滴だけ滴る雫を舐める時が私の至福なわけだけど。
What?
ベアとのゲーム版でも散々遊ばせてもらってるけど、もう何も出てきやしないくらいに絞り尽くしたわ。このゲームもこれでおしまいなのよ。だから最後にふさわしく、
So you say, but you know, I got some outside knowledge that you know,
くらいには
begs
盛
to
り上が
differ.
ってくれなきゃね。
ちえ、このゲームで無限にあんたと遊ぼうと思ったのに残念だわ。
とんでもない。十分にあんたに付き合わされたわよ。また面白そうなゲーム版を見つけてらっしゃい。そしたらまた遊んであげる。
ああ、本当にあんたは私を
Alright,
飽き
get
さ
a
せない
room,
わ。
you two.
それでいいのよ、ベルンカステル。そんなあんたの表情を苦悶に歪めることだけが私が覚えてしまった唯一の禁断の蜜なのだから。
Lambda Delta had guaranteed that it was a perfect locked room. Berncastel had guaranteed that it was a perfect murder. A perfect locked room murder. The witches hated to be a killjoy, so they wouldn't yet say anything with the red truth. Pursuing that would be the role of Battler and Erica.
ずいぶんドタバタと現場巡りをしたようだな。十分か？
You got some good
現
cardio.
場検証は。
You know, there were stairs in that mix too.
十分です。さて、私とあなたの赤と青の論争バトルですが、いかがします？早速始めますか？それとも最後にまとめて？
お預けは俺の性分じゃねえな。それはお前もだろう
Alright,
ぜ。
yeah, if you got questions, ask them.
なら、早速この第1の番の密室に切り込ませていただきます。その前に確認です。復唱要求に応じるおつもりは？
内容によるぜ。全てに応じる義務はなく、応じない理由も開示しない。
グッと。ではシンプルに密室定義の確認から参りましょう。
Yep.
ドラノール、読み上げてください。
Why, do you not know how to
了
read?
解です。以下の復唱を要求します。
I'd believe it. The later unfurled, the kind of scroll often depicted in Western fairy tales when an official reads a royal decree. And she read the contents aloud.
一つ、6人の部屋は全て密室である。
認める。もちろん。ゴーダたちがチェーンを切断するなどして密室を破るまでの話だが。
At a nod from Delaner, Cornelia, who stood behind her, started taking notes.
一つ、
She's being a little stenographer.
密室の定義とは
At least
外
I'm
部
pretty
に
sure
構
that's
築
what
不
the
可能であ
the
る。
typist in the courtroom is called.
認める。
つまり外部からはどんな細工でも密室を構築できないということ。チェーンロックを外部より細い針金などで器用にかけ直したなどは認められないということです。
言われるまでもありません。ドラノール、続けてください。
一つ、密室の定義とは内外を横断する一切の干渉が断絶されていることを指す。
Sure.
認める。ただしノックや声、内線電話など一般的な部屋で想定できる干渉方法を否定はしない。
Okay.
一つ、密室破壊時、室内には犠牲者、ナツヒ、エヴァ、キリエ、ローザ、マリア、バトラ以外存在しない。
認める。
So no one's hiding. This was to check that the murderer hadn't been hiding inside a locked room. I guess if the discoverers departed the scene after becoming aware of the locked room murder, they're the culprit. Almost gonna sneeze, but I didn't. I saved it. And then I rubbed my eyes by accident. Now they itch real bad. Ugh. Let's just start that whole thing over. Because if the discoverers departed the scene after becoming aware of the locked room murder, and then the culprits slipped out of the room after that, it would have been possible to construct an illusion of a locked room. because Balor had acknowledged their statement with the red truth. This possibility, that the culprit and the victim had both been inside the locked room at the time of the crime, following which the culprit had hid under the bed and snuck out after the discovery of the crime, had now been eliminated.
一つ、密室破壊時以降に殺人は行われていない。
拒否する。
なぜです？
No.
実は密室を破った時点では
There's more wisdom.
犠牲者たちが生きてたからですか？そして実は押し入ったクラウスたちが犯人でそこで殺人を行った。すなわち密室誤殺人だから。これが真相だからですか？
Ooh, who's to say?
いいえ、違います。まだ殺人は続くのですから、これ以降に殺人が行われないと赤で宣言することはできません。
へりくつを。私たちの趣旨は分かってるはずです。
Yeah.
クラウスたちがチェーンを切断して密室を破り、そして中にいた人間を殺した。
I mean, an interesting line of thought to
こ
go
れに
down.
反論してもらいたいだけです。
エリカ卿、クラウスたちとの不特定多数な言い方では不十分です。まずは密室破壊後に室内に入った人間を確定すべきです。
近景、密室に踏み入ったのは犠牲者を除きクラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、
Hey,
ゴーダ
yo,
の4
fucking
人
guy squad.
近景、
Just the dudes.
これは聞き取りによるものなり、他に踏み入った人物がいないという保証はなきなりと知りたてまつれ。
言われるまでもない。今のを復唱してもらいましょう。密室破壊後、部屋に入ったのは私を除きクラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダの4人のみである。
いいぜ、認める。ただしこれは現時点での話だ。
Obviously.
今後のゲーム展開以下では他の人物が立ち入ることもあり得る。
復唱要求。クラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダは犯人ではない。
Balor put his finger on his chin, deep in thought. The word culprit was fairly broad, and it might serve to greatly restrict the darkness of the witch.
答えてもいいのではないでしょうか。もし拒否すれば、クラウスたちが犯人であるという青き真実が残ったままとなります。
そうだな。認めはするが、言い方をさらに厳密にしよう。
Alright.
クラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダたち4人は、夏日、エヴァ、キリエ、ローザ、マリア、
Sure.
バトラたち6人の殺
Who
人に
knows
関
what
わ
they'll
っ
do in the future? Yeah.
ということは密室に入ってさえいないそれ以外の人間たちもまた殺人に関わることは不可能ということになりますね。
さあな、自分で考えな。
I
密
can't give
室に
you all
立
the
ち入ら
answers.
ずに
Teehee.
密室殺人を成立させる青き真実が提出できるってんなら、こっちも赤き真実で返答してもいいぜ。もっとも俺はお前がこれから提出する青き真実のうち、つまり今からお前が遠隔密室殺人のトリック X を青き真実で説明できたとしても、
Alright.
必ずしもそれに赤き真実で答える必要はないわけだ。
These are the rules of the witch's game. Anjay checked these details with Beato in the fourth game. The witch side lays out mystery after mystery and claims them all to be impossible to carry out except by magic. The human side must use the blue truth to argue that they are explainable with tricks. And if they cannot make a counter-argument with the blue truth for even one of these mysteries, that mystery will be considered to have been done by magic, and will be impossible to deny the existence of witches. In other words, the witch side only needs to protect any one of its mysteries. In contrast, the human side has to fully explain all mysteries with the blue truth. And even if the human side manages to explain all the mysteries with the blue truth, if any one of those is successfully countered by the red truth, the witch will win. Therefore, just like the strategy that the old Beato adopted in her final game, It is sufficient for the witch side to put off their red text counter-arguments until the very last moment, then make a single strike at their opponent's most fragile spot.
いずれにせよ今の復唱要求には拒否ということですね。
勘違いするなよ。復唱要求はお前へのサービスではないんだぞ。
From the perspective of the witch side, repetition requests are just a supplement to make sure that the human side hasn't misunderstood the question. Therefore, they have neither technical nor moral obligation to respond to requests that are extremely broad.
やりますね。魔女側プレイヤーとしてもなかなか頑張るじゃないですか。
Oh yeah, look at his cool cloak.
お前とは場数が違うぜ。
Well, the clothes make the man and all that.
ドラノール。
続けます。一つ、犠牲者たちは他殺を除くあらゆる方法で死んではいない。
認める。
もちろん自殺や事故死ではありません。
Alright, cool.
一つ、犠牲者は
ドラノール。それで結構です。
よろしいのですか？まだ項目が。
もう十分です。
Okay.
現場の状況は確認できました。ここから青き真実での反論タイムとしましょう。
Alright, time to fucking start spitballing, I guess.
ご考察を拝聴しようじゃねえか。
Someone called on the internal line and did the equivalent of, using an analog phone to cyberbully them into killing themselves. Though Battler and Erica were enemies, it looked to Beato as though they were having a little fun doing it. She was probably slightly jealous of Erica. Beato thought back on the book she had read in Featherine's archives, in which the old her and Battler had fought. That must have been fun as well. It's only fun in retrospect. It fucking sucks when you're doing, something. But, it's after you've had time to think about it and kind of, and it's all in the past. You can be like, yeah, the good old days. During a short break in the family conference, a horrible, brutal mass murder had occurred. Excluding Battler, the 6 people killed had all been women. The men who had been left behind went mad with rage at the cowardice of it, broke down sobbing at the sadness of losing their wives, and went back and forth between the too many items. Items? Times? What? Who? Where? Words? Went back and forth between the too many times. Okay.
卑劣にも程があるやないか。俺たちは何だってんだ。
Well, is Battler, man's... Have you seen his suit? Man's a little fruity.
同じ屋根の下にいて、自分の家族が殺されてるのに揃いも揃って気づかず、のんびりヤニを吸ってたってわけかよ、畜生！しかし、誰がどうやって妻たちは決して無防備ではなかったのだぞ。皆チェーンをしたままだった。くだらねえぜそんなこと。どうやって殺したかが問題じゃねえ。
I get where you're coming from.
誰が殺したかだけが問題だ。
なあ、源氏さん、郷田さん。親族会議中の屋敷は窓も扉もすべて鍵がかかってたっちゅうの
か。はい、それはもう間違いなく。
奥様のお言いつけ通り、普段は夜の見回り時に必ずすべての施錠をいたしております。今夜は特別でございましたので、お子様方をゲストハウスへお送りしてから、すぐに施錠するようにいたしておりました。
そりゃおかしいぜ。だったらどうして屋敷にバトラーやマリアちゃんがいるんだ。入ってこれないはずだろう。
戸締まりがほんまにしっかりしとったら、
you can
そういうことにはな
explain
ら
that
ん
one
は
as,
ずや。
one of the women, opened the door or whatever for him. Like maybe Maria called the parlor and Rosa was there and she answered and she went to open the door and then they came in and went their separate ways.
この二人が屋敷の中にいたことが戸締まりが完全じゃなかったことの証拠とちゃうんか。
Well, then someone would have had to unlock it. He was arguing that Goda's failure to lock up properly might have allowed a stranger to sneak in. At the very least, none of them had known that Battler and Maria had visited the mansion. If those two had come and found everything locked tight, they wouldn't have been able to get inside. If they had rung the doorbell, Goda would probably have heard it from the servant room, but Goda had said nothing of the sort had happened. How had they entered the locked mansion was a complete mystery. They just vibrated really quickly, shook their molecules super hard and just phase shift through the door. Yeah, there we go.
バトラー様たちのノックか呼び鈴に気づいて扉をお開けになったとか。
そんなわけねえだろ。その時ゴダさんは使用人室にいたはずだろ。
Was it right next to the door?
玄関が開いたら使用人室にチャイムが鳴る仕掛けがあったはずだぜ。来客に気づかねえわけはねえ。
それがその。
I don't know, maybe it wasn't working.
ゴーダはその時ちょうど皆様方のお言いつけで、
he was out.
お飲み使用人室に不在でした。
なんでこんな大事な日に屋敷の使用人が一人なんだ。どうして源氏さんみたいな重要な人がゲストハウスの当番なんだ。おかしいじゃねえか。どうして使用人室を空っぽにしちまったんだ。
Look, man, it's the economy. It's in shambles. You can only hire so much help.
シフトを組んだのだ。よく気の利くゴーダなら親族会議中にも洒落た飲み物を差し入れてくれると期待したのだろう。
Bust out some nice Shirley Temples.
しかしな、クラウス兄さん、親族会議やで。一年で一番大切な日やで。そんな日になんでゴーダさん一人だけを屋敷の当番にしたんや。せめてもう一人おったら話は変わってたんとちゃうか。ねえねえ。
With a half-crying, half-enraged, jumbled-up expression, Hideyoshi yelled at Goda. Of course, the culprit who killed everyone was the most to blame and the most despicable. However, even if he understood that, he needed to let off some of his emotions by hating someone he could see.
皆さんの胸中、心よりお察しします。ですがどうか落ち着いてください。ゴーダさんの戸締まりが不完全だったか、あるいはゲストハウスから戻ってきたバトラさんとマリアさんを誰かが迎え入れて、ただそれが謎の犯人の侵入と関係があったとは限りません。何しろあれだけの大きなお屋敷です。もっと早い段階から屋敷に入り、ずっと深夜までどこかの部屋で息を殺していたのかもしれません。誰かを疑いたい気持ちはわかりますが、どうか落ち着いてください。
客人の言う通りだ。憎むべきは犯人であって、たまたま当番だったゴーダではない。とにかく落ち着こう。私とて悔しい。だが今は我々が率先して冷静さを取り戻さなくてはどうしようもない。兄貴、皆辛くて悔しい気持ちは同じだ。そして犯人を絶対に許したくない。だからこそ我々は冷静を取り戻さなければならないのだ。
Yeah, but what if they say they're real sorry?
そうや。わしにもジョージがおる。クラウス兄さんにはジェシカちゃんがおる。
Don't rub it in, Hideyoshi. Where are you going with this?
そしてルドルフ君も帰りを待つエンジちゃんがおるはずや。犯人と差し違えたる思うんはまだ早いんや。
まだ犯人はこの島にいます。そしてこの無残な事件がこれで幕を下ろしたとは限らない。
First it's like, damn, Rudolph, it really fucking sucks that both your husband and kid are dead. At least we still got our kids.
私たちは冷静を取り戻し、これ以上の惨劇を食い止めねばなりません。
Erica's words softly consoled them and gently admonished them. If a servant had said the same thing, Rudolph would have probably jumped on him. However, since it had come from the lips of the guest, a neutral party, it seemed to reach their ears. They're not covering their own asses.
落ち着きましょう。ここには成人の男性が3人もいて、 そして銃を持ってい
You know,
ます。
some big strong dudes.
犯行の手口を見る限り、犯人が銃を持っている可能性は低いでしょう。
Well, we're just not including, you know, Genji and Goda in this group of men.
つまり、私たちがしっかりしている限り、もはや犯人に手出しする余地はないということです。
彼女の言う通りだ。
Sweet summer child.
後ろ宮の島でこれ以上犯人の好き勝手にさせるわけにはいかん。探し出そう。この台風だ。島からは逃げられねえし、雨宿りできる場所だって限られてるはずだ。
Well, if you move as a group, all they have to do is, you know, keep in front of you, or slip out of you like your little hunting trail, and just move to a place you've already searched and like just let you run around doing nothing.
残念ですが、この程度の人数で島を探すのは難しいでしょう。何しろ皆さんは見つけたら即座に撃ち殺さんばかりの勢いです。怯えた犯人があの深い森の中に逃げ込んだとしたら簡単には見つけられません。
そうやな。おとなしく台風が過ぎるのを待って船に警察を呼んでもらい、島中を徹底的に探し回ってもらう方がいいやろ。
Yeah, that doesn't feel good, you know.
何百人も来てくれて、ほんまにしらみつぶしで探すんや。
Oh, yeah, especially because this is, you know, a fairly affluent, influential family.
いくらあの深い森でもな、絶対にあぶり出してみせるで。
今一番大事なのはこれ以上愛する家族を失わないことだ。ルドルフ、お前に万が一があったら帰りを待つエンジェちゃんはどうなる？キリエ、バトラ、チキショウ、チキショウ、お前たちに俺はまだ
Truth.
打ち明けてねえってのに。
No, you sure didn't. Keep sprinkling those hints around, though.
クラウスさん、きっといとこ部屋の皆さんも激しく動揺していると思います。クラウスさんが落ち着きを取り戻したところを見せることによって皆さんも少なからず落ち着きを取り戻せると思います。言ってあげてはどうでしょう。
そうだ。
I feel like maybe, you know, the entire group should be together
これから
instead
の
of
こと
having,
を話さなければならない
the cousins split up over there with like Kumasawa
ゲン
or,
ジ
or
さんと
something.
幸田さんも一緒に上に行ってくださ
You
い。
know, and Shannon Cannon,
シ
you
ャ
know.
ノンさんやカノンさん、熊沢さんもきっと動揺されてると思います。
はい、それはもうきっと皆さんも動揺されていることでしょう。
Probably Kumasawa. the
よろ
most.
しいのですか。何かお手伝いできることは他
She,
にあ
she
り
seems
ま
to
せん。
lose it fairly easily.
だからこそクラウスさんと一緒にいてください。何かの時すぐにそれに応えられるように。私たちは先に
She's like my
ここ
grandma
の
when
戸
she
締まり
watches
を
the
確認
news
した
too
いと
much.
思います。すぐに上がりますから先に行ってください。
わかりました。何かございましたらお呼びください。
Don't let your grandparents watch too much Fox, kids. It fucking melts their brains. Genji bowed and nodded to Kraus. Kraus nodded to Erika, then headed upstairs with Genji and Goda. My eyes. Also, disregard what I said earlier about keeping everyone, you know, in the same place. We're in the lounge at the guest house. Seeing the golf clubs made me remember. I don't know why, but it just did. When only men are around at a time of confusion, it's easy for a composed member of the opposite sex to control the initiative. Even without the detective's authority, she was able to control them quite naturally. Erika had wanted to get rid of the servants for the time being.
よし、そうと来たら早速戸締まりを確認しようぜ。
問題はラウンジのこの大窓やな。シャッターもないみたいや。ここをぶち破られたら侵入は防げんで。
Yeah, it's not a very defensible position, this room.
いいさ。ガラスの割れる音で十分だぜ。蜂の巣にしてやら。
お静かに。
I mean, with a lever action? Sure, man, if you know how to do it real good.
皆さんに残ってもらったのは戸締まりの確認のためではありません。今から言うことを
Yeah, we got the
冷静に
we
聞
got
い
the
てくださ
prying
い。
ears out of the way. Time for real talk. When Erica lowered her voice, Rudolph and Hideyoshi realized that she had something secret to talk about, so they brought their ears closer as soon as they regained their composure.
いいですか？
Yep, group huddle.
事件は親族会議の小休止中というわずかの時間の間に起こりました。そのわずかの時間中に誰にも悟られずに6人もの人間を殺
Yeah,
す
how
など
odd.
到底これは屋敷の内外の構造を知り尽くした関係者の犯行です。
Almost like it was someone who worked here.
それは
そら内部に詳しゅうなかったら。しかし。
A short while ago, they had lambasted Goda, suspecting the servants of having made a blunder. However, they had only thought he had forgotten to lock up, and were attacking him for letting the mysterious culprit sneak in. They hadn't considered that one of the servants they knew so well might have taken those lives with their own hands. No, they hadn't wanted to think that. People can't easily suspect someone they know well. Being a killer.
犯行当時、屋敷は内部より施錠され、親族会議に関わる皆さんしか存在しませんでした。
じゃあ兄貴がキリエたちを殺したってのか？
No.
それとも秀吉兄さんを疑えってのか？ありえねえ。考えられね
え。わしは花からクラウス兄さんもルドルフ君も疑っとらんで。わしら兄弟はみんな夫婦仲は円満や。後ろ宮家は確かに規律や金には厳しい一族やで。
Yeah, but you know, not when they kill someone
しか
over.
しな、家族を大事にするっていう気持ちは他の家に勝るとも劣らんつもりやで。
ええ、もちろんそれは信じてます。皆さんが奥さんを殺すなど夢にも思っていませんから。
Erica had already received red truth proof from Battler that they were not the murderers. So, there was no need to argue that point. Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda. None of those four was the killer. And yet, Erica said this.
しかし、ゴーダさんはどうでしょうか。親族会議の間、ずっと控え室にいて、誰にも知られずに何らかの工作ができる立場です。
ゴーダさんを疑うのはちょいと早いで。ゴーダさんは小休止の時食堂に飲み物の配膳に来てくれたんや。
He would have been able to move pretty quick to, commit 6 murders and also get the drinks on time.
長いことを一緒にいてくれた。とても6人も殺す時間的猶予があったとは思えんのや。
しかし実行犯を屋敷内に手引きすることはできたかもな。
そういうことです。ゴーダさん自身は実行犯ではないでしょう。しかし実行犯を密かに屋敷内に迎え入れることは十分に可能でした。
Rudolph and Hideyoshi, stunned, looked at each other. They were all family. Even the wife of a sibling was still family. The siblings may have harbored hatred for each other, but they could never have hated each other's wives enough to kill them. Although Ava and Rosa were part of this sibling circle of hate, there could be no reason for her sibling to kill any of the others who had died, Nazi, Kyrie, Battler, or the young Maria. But to a servant like Goda, perhaps everyone was a little more than a complete stranger.
私が使用人を疑う点は2点です。まず1点目は犠牲者たちと面識があり、かついずれの現場にも争った跡がないこと。すべての現場は全く乱れていなかったのを皆さんもよくご存知のはずです。
それは俺も思ってたぜ。あの喧嘩慣れしたキリエが何の抵抗もなく綺麗にぱったり殺されるかってんだ。相手の指くらいは食いちぎる女だぜ。顔見知りが犯人で油断させたところを突然って方が確かに説明はつく。
それを言ったらうちのエヴァもや。何しろ武芸100般。
Yeah, she probably does all the fucking home video
暴漢が襲ってこないか
martial
と
arts exercise
日
tapes.
々ワクワクしとる女やで。 そんなあっさりと殺されるわけがない。
なら客間のローザさんだってどうです？
I
一人娘と一緒の
mean,
ローザ
she
さ
can
ん
go
が
like fucking psycho mode, but you know.
ミスミスと殺されると思いますか？そしてこのことはもう一つ大事なことを教えています。
大事なこと？
犯人は一人じゃないってことか。
そうや。客間にはローザさんとマリアちゃんが2人おったんや。同時に殺さなかったら
No, just divide up the
大
work.
騒ぎになるところやで。それを殺せたっちゅうことは。
ローザはマリアちゃんのことが絡めば子連れ熊みたいに怒りっぽくなるやつだ。
Yep.
仮に相手が銃で脅したとしても
So, you know, usually that
ひるむ
quick
ようなや
anger
つじゃ
was
ね
directed at Maria, but
え。なるほど。ローザにギリギリまで不信感を持たれない人物ってわけ
but then again, she also did consider, you know, just leaving Maria behind at one point. You know, she was getting chased by all the goat demons and had the gold, and she's like, I could just dump this kid and make a run for it.
未知の
The
部外者
intrusive
が
thoughts
島
were
に
winning
紛れ
out.
込んでいるという考えの方が非現実的であることがすでにお分かりと思います。犯人はこの島に精通した関係者、そして複数です。
There's more than one culprit, and they know the island. Erica's reasoning pointed clearly at the ones they should suspect and guard themselves against.
エリカちゃんは使用人たちを疑ってるってのか。
I mean, fair.
はい、現状を推理して最も疑わしいと思います。彼らを疑う2点目がチェーンロックの密室なのです。
どうしてチェーンロックが疑わしいんだ？
Yeah, where are you going
も
with this?
しチェーンロックのない密室だったら
They could have just used the master key?
そんなの密室やないで。
Yeah.
マスターキーの1本もあれば誰だって密室にできるわ。
そういうことか。なるほど。使用人たちが疑われないためには
What, it's to deflect?
チェーンでロックする必要があったってことか。
その通りです。チェーンをかけることで彼らは疑われずに済む。逆を返せばチェーンをかければ彼らマスターキーの所持者は疑いを免れないのです。
チェーンをかけて渡航するんは使用人だけっちゅうわけか。
連中の肩を持つわけじゃねえが、ならどうやってチェーン、外からチェーンをかけるなんてできるのか？
Correct.
構造的に考えて不可能ではないと思います。こんな話ご存知ですか？マンションの郵便ポストに配達する郵便屋さんの中にはたまに針金で作ったヘラを持ち歩いてる人もいるそうですね。
ああ、聞いたことあるで。マンションの郵便ポストは似たような部屋番号のポストが隣接しとる。ひょいっと投函したら一部屋間違ったポストだったっちゅうことも割とある話らしいや。
マンションのポストは施錠されてることがほとんどです。間違って投函してしまったらもう取り出せなくなってしまう。
I mean, it's like, yeah, but at that point, just hope the neighbor, you know, knocks on their door and gives them their mail. In that situation, they're supposed to tell the owner of that mailbox about their mistake. Have that person unlock the mailbox for them and retrieve the improperly delivered mail. However, the resident of that apartment would often be out, and going through that process would be a real pain. Because of that, some mailmen would make a little tool out of wire with a hook on the end, and use that to fish the mistakenly delivered postcard out through the crack in the mailbox.
俺もビルの管理会社の兄ちゃんに聞いたことがあるな。たまにトイレの個室の中で酔っ払って寝込んじまうやつがいるらしくて、そういうのを連れ出すために扉の隙間から薄い金具を入れて缶抜きを外したりすることもあるらしい。
そういうことです。どこの業界でも本来は開けられないものをひょいっと開けられる裏技的な小道具が存在するものです。同じものを屋敷の使用人たちが持っていたとしても取り立てて驚くことではありません。
Like you accidentally lock the key to a room inside that room, and then it's like, oh shit. Gotta get the door open and don't want to call a fellow locksmith.
コツさえ分かれば針金で外からチェーンをかけるのもできないわけじゃなさそうだ。確かにできないとは言い切れねえ。
I mean, we can, because we got the red, but where are you going with this, Erica? True, physically speaking, one couldn't say for sure that there existed absolutely no way to set and unset chain locks from the outside. Chain locks allow for the door to be opened a crack. If a person were to stick something through that crack, they should be able to manage it easily. It was very natural for Rudolph and Hideyoshi to think that way. However, Erica knew better. Though it might be possible in reality, it had already been declared with the red truth that these locked rooms could not have been constructed from the outside. In other words, it was impossible to manipulate the chain lock from the outside. And yet, Erica was guiding their thoughts to put them under the illusion that only the servants could have constructed the locked rooms. With an air of solemnly revealing some vital point, she steadily steered the situation in the direction she wanted. Everything about her serious face for the last few minutes was an act. No, to put it in her words, it was a detective technique for tricking suspects.
同じ話はクラウスさんにもするつもりです。
I'm gonna die.
使用人たちの全員が犯人だとは言いません。しかし犯人もしくはそれに加担する人物が含まれている可能性は濃厚です。彼らを隔離し、銃を持つ人間を監視につけるべきです。
Yeah, it's when you split up the suspects and, you go in a room and like, your buddy already spilled the beans, so, it's only good for you if you tell the truth, and then you fucking break them and then they spill it themselves, even though, the other guy said nothing. Rudolph and Hideyoshi looked at each other again. What she was saying made sense, and it sounded as though she was calmly smoking out the most suspicious people at this point in time. With her accomplished conversation techniques, Erica was skillfully grasping the initiative. Even without the presence of the detective's authority, controlling human nature like this is trivial. Your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Very good, perfect. Fantastic time to end, because I am becoming unraveled. My, cellular structure is decaying. My mitochondria, the will of the mitochondria is taking over, and it's telling me that I need to stop. I need to stop talking and just, take a hot shower. And what I really need is, some peppermint oil or something, to, diffuse right into my face, to, open, forcefully open all my nasal passages and just dump all the fluid inside my body out my nose. But with that is where we end it here for today. Once again, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys all next time for the next episode of Umineko. Catch you guys then. Later. Bye.